Hi, everybody, and welcome to Real Life with Branden and Robin. All right, so today we're going to talk about a really interesting topic. But before we get into that, I want to just kind of go over where we're at in the pregnancy and how this week went for us. So I am now 32 weeks pregnant, officially 2 months before my due date, which is still surreal, still crazy to me. I still, to this day, cannot believe that we're just coming in on it so fast, and pretty soon we're going to have a newborn in the house. It's just wild. I'm doing great. Baby is doing great. Absolutely no complications. Things have been going so smooth and so wonderful this whole pregnancy. Baby is about 17 inches long right now and a little over 4 pounds. And according to my app, there is some skull development, which is really cool. So the bones, I don't know if you know this about babies, but you have multiple bones in your skull. It's not just like one huge bone, or at least it's not fused together yet. So all these multiple bones, when you're a fetus, aren't fused together yet, so that the bones in the skull can overlap and fit through the birth canal better. But at this point, all those bones are developed, they're just not fused together. Another thing is eye development. The baby can now understand and determine between daytime and nighttime, which is wild. And the last thing is the brain. The brain is now really starting to understand more things and in charge of a lot more systems. Things like regulating body temperature, digestive system, reflexes, things like that. The brain is now kind of at a place where it's developed and getting a lot more controlled, which has been great. So again, before we get into today's topic, I want to talk about just a couple of things real quick this week. This week, week 32, was a struggle I really struggled with my emotions. And what I mean by that is hormones, right? I think that hormones were flying off the charts this week. And I was just really, really negative. And anytime I looked at a situation, it was really so much more difficult for me to see the positive. And I was just kind of down in the dumps, really negative, really kind of grumpy and ornery a lot this week. So I'm hoping that'll let up soon, but I know that it's attributed to the pregnancy hormones, because I'm not like that anyway. I'm a very positive person, very glass half full, like, let's just look at the silver lining and only look at that, so I'm not a negative person anyway, so I knew it was hormones. The other thing is we had a little bit of a scare this week, which, honestly, I shouldn't say scare. It wasn't really that much of a scare. I wound up going to the ER due to shortness of breath, which I know sounds crazy, I know, but I have had asthma my whole life since I was a little girl, and I've had multiple pregnancies, and so to me this was different. It felt very different. It wasn't asthma, it wasn't pregnancy related, and I called my doctor, and they basically said go to the ER. So long story short, I went to the ER. Even longer story short, they took a zillion tests and said, congratulations, you're pregnant, you're going to be out of breath, and sent me home. Without any treatment, without anything. So I was a little bit frustrated because I'm like, the nurse, as she was dismissing me, she said, so how are you feeling? And I said, well, not great, because I still can't breathe. And it was bad. I mean, it was really, really bad. It was like somebody who's never trained for a marathon just got done running 10 miles. I mean, I could not breathe. And I just attributed it, I'm thinking it was just chest congestion in my lungs. And so that cleared up like really well the next day. And so, of course, I'm out of breath right now, and I'm short of breath, but I know that that's because I'm pregnant. What I was experiencing was not due to that, but they couldn't find anything wrong with me, which was a huge blessing. They kept saying, you're as healthy as a horse, you're as healthy as a horse. They were like, we even called your OB, and my OB was not the one on call. It was a different OB that was on call, and it's one I hadn't seen before. And they said, after he reviewed your charts, he basically said, I have absolutely no concerns. You can send her home. So, like silver linings. So, okay. With that, let's get into today's topic. So this is a little bit of a tough one for me because I think I've been trying to avoid it just to spare you all the grimy details of pregnancy. But I've been getting actually a lot of questions and a lot of comments. We read all the comments and all the questions, so if you leave a comment, know that we're reading it and we care. And so we got a comment just recently saying, hey, could you talk about the T.M.I. symptoms of pregnancy? The too much information symptoms, the ones that you're kind of embarrassed by, the ones that are real, right? So I have had some of those, but I haven't really been talking about them, or I kind of just tried to go around them because we want this to be a family-friendly, channel that anybody can watch. And so with that being said, if you get kind of, I'm still going to keep it very, very rated G, okay? But if TMI pregnancy symptoms is too much for you, turn this off now, because we're going to get real, because this is real life. And that's why we named it this channel, because we want to be genuine and we want to be real. There's so much out there that isn't, or it's sugar-coated, and that's frustrating because this is real life and we're all experiencing it in real life, in real time, without a sugar-coating. So why are we sugar-coating it, right? So with that, let's get into my list of TMI symptoms. All right, so the first one, hemorrhoids. So I have had a struggle with hemorrhoids for years now. I would say probably since maybe 2012, 2013, somewhere in there. Mostly because I didn't really realize I was lactose intolerant, and I was working at a pizzeria, and all I was eating all day was cheese nonstop. And it took me a while to put together the connection. Well, I wound up having a hemorrhoid flare-up, and it's just never gone away since then. And so it's just this one spot, this one area. If you don't know what a hemorrhoid is, it's basically a irritated or popped blood vessel on your hind end. And those can be pretty irritating. They can be painful. They can be frustrating, right? But this is real life. This is really what happens. And so even growing up and things like that, it's never really gone away. It'll have certain flare-ups or get irritated at certain times in my life. And it's definitely been irritated during this pregnancy. It's been really difficult. I've been doing all the natural remedies you can think of. I've been doing essential oils and keeping the area really clean, and we're doing witch hazel and aloe, all that fun stuff. But it's just been a nightmare to kind of keep that under control. But again, it's just like the one spot, this one area that always flares up. It's not like multiple. Some people have it differently, but I just have this one that just will not go away, will not leave me alone, and it can get pretty painful. All right, next topic. A lot of people were asking about not just TMI symptoms, but like gas and constipation and things like that, or bloating. I haven't really had much gas or bloating. I think a lot of that is due to how I've been eating, but not always. Sometimes that's genetic factored as well. So with that being said, I haven't had a lot of gas and bloating. However, I have been terribly constipated this pregnancy, which I know isn't helping the hemorrhoid situation. So I have been very, very constipated this pregnancy. It's one of those things where when I do finally have a BM or a bowel movement, or for those of you who don't know those medical terms, when I go number 2, it feels like a celebratory time. Like I come running out going, oh my gosh, I went to the bathroom. And I get so excited because a lot of time it's been days, if not a full week, before I went the last time. And so it's just so nice, because when you're constipated in pregnancy, it just, because of all the pressure down there, you already feel like you have to go all the time anyway. And so when you finally do, it's really exciting. So I've been very constipated. No bloating or gas, though. I've been gassy a couple of times, but I think, again, it's been what I eat. I'll eat something like, cheese on something, and I'm really, really lactose intolerant and sensitive. And so if I have a lot of cheese, one day or even 2 days in a row, I'm pretty gassy the next few days. But haven't been having too much of that. The next one is one I debated talking about because I didn't really want to talk about it, because this one is kind of embarrassing, but it's very real. It's real life. This is what happens. Discharge. I have been having a lot of discharge with this pregnancy. I won't get into too much detail, but it is all very healthy discharge. It's not anything to be concerned about. Sometimes your body just makes extra things when you're pregnant, right? Extra hormones, extra saliva, extra blood to pump through the body of you and your baby. And so I've been having a lot of discharge, which has been really hard to maintain because I'm having to put like a little feminine product in multiple times a day and changing that because there's so much of that constantly. But I'm even assured by my health professionals that that's a good thing and it's healthy because what it's doing is it's just keeping that birth canal clean for the baby and just making sure that there's like a constant stream of something is keeping it cleaned out. So I'm like, wonderful, great, you know, so we'll just consider it a blessing. It's just kind of inconvenient sometimes. So with that, another thing, a lot of the rest of these are pretty little things. So hopefully I haven't queased your stomach too much here already. Overeating can be kind of embarrassing. And by that, I mean, I have been doing incredibly well with what I eat, how much I eat, when I eat, restricting my calories in a healthy way so that I'm not, you know, with my daughter, I was eating over 3,000 calories a day. That's not healthy. That's not good. And so I'm keeping at a good, healthy calorie intake. My weight has been great. So all my health professionals are like, you know, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. So, however, there's a story I have now. We had a dinner at our church on Saturday, a Valentine's Day dinner. And those of you that are going to my church watching this, don't judge me. And there were two cakes. There was a chocolate cake and there was a peanut butter cake. And I had not eaten for, I had just eaten maybe 3 hours ago, but it was a couple bites of dragon fruit. Like, it was not enough, like, to do anything. It felt like I didn't eat anything at all. But before that, it had been like 6 or 7 hours. Like, I was starving. I had had nothing to eat. And we get there, and all I'm thinking is, like, when are they going to dismiss us for food? Like, I'm hungry, I want the food. So anyway, there are these two cakes, and they're these huge, massive sheet cakes. And the girl cutting them, bless her heart, man, she cut these pieces. I mean, they had to have been, they were massive. I mean, like, they were like the size of my head. They were huge pieces of cake. And I was like, oh, bless her heart. Like, I hate when I go to an event or something and I get like this little sliver of a piece of cake that looks like a piece of paper. And she cut this piece of cake, and they had peanut butter cake. And if anyone knows me, I'm a sucker for some peanut butter. And once I saw that, I was like, I'm going to dive into that head first, just the whole cake. I was so hungry. Long story short, everyone is like sharing their cake with their spouse, like cutting the pieces in half when they get there. I did not. I ate the whole thing. Every single bite of my cake. I ate it all. And I was so embarrassed. And every part of me was trying to justify, like, oh, you know, but I hadn't eaten. And I didn't really eat a lot of my dinner. I just kind of picked up my chicken and whatever else was there. But I'm like, I wanted that cake. And I ate the whole stinking thing. Like, it was probably the size of like a little personal, like, it was huge, you guys, for real. So that can be kind of embarrassing when people don't know the whole story and then they sit there and watch this pregnant woman devour a cake like a coyote taking on a carcass. So that could get kind of embarrassing, but I ultimately have to look back and go, you know what? Ultimately, it doesn't really matter what other people think. They're going to judge you anyway. And I know the whole story. I had not eaten in a long time. I needed food, and I needed food desperately. So, overeating. Another good one that is pretty embarrassing are when I get Braxton Hicks. So, the baby is in a position right now. The Braxton Hicks aren't really painful. They're just kind of irritating. And you like try to, it's funny because you try to move because it just feels like pressure, like uncomfortable pressure. But no matter what you do, you can't, it won't relieve itself until it relieves itself. Like, there's nothing you can do to make it release. It just has to finish contracting. So sometimes I'll get these Braxton Hicks, and when the baby moves, she's in a position right now where she is like right at my cervix. And if, again, this is a TMI video, so it is what it is. Your cervix is basically the thing that's holding the baby in your body. Okay? And so once the cervix dilates and opens, that's when it's time for the baby to come out. Okay? So the cervix is really thick during pregnancy, and it's really tight to hold your baby in. And I feel like sometimes I'm going to sneeze, or when I go to the bathroom to go pee, I feel like she's just going to fall right out. I mean, she's right there. And the embarrassing part of that is sometimes I can feel when she goes head down, and I can feel like her arms and her legs like rubbing up against the inside of my cervix. And that is not a comfortable feeling. If you've ever experienced that, let me know in the comments, because sometimes I feel like I'm alone in that. But it's uncomfortable. And there are times when I'm in public when she'll brush against my cervix and I'm like, ooh, because it's it's shocking and it catches you off guard and it's not comfortable. It kind of hurts sometimes, and then sometimes she'll like move around for a while. It's not like just a movement, like a fluid movement over your cervix. She's pounding it like Rocky, okay? And I'm like, oh gosh, and it's hard not to jump in public. So that can be kind of embarrassing sometimes when I feel those movements up against my cervix to not, make a scene, as it were, okay? Another one, this is kind of a silly one, but just me and who I am. I like to look good. I like to feel good, and when you look good, you feel good, about yourself and your confidence and all of that. You know what I'm trying to say. And clothes have been such a struggle this pregnancy. I have been, again, everybody at church is like laughing at me because they're like, none of your shirts fit you. And I'm like, I know. So a lot of my shirts, I don't have a lot of maternity clothes. And the ones that I do have don't fit me very well. My pants sag in the butt and my shirts are too short. Like I can't get them to go all the way over my belly. And so to have a saggy, droopy pant butt and to have my shirt, riding up this big old belly that I have, that can get kind of frustrating, embarrassing, just trying to find clothes that fit right, just in general. That's ultimately what I'm trying to say, is trying to find clothes when you're pregnant that fit right can be a struggle and can be kind of embarrassing when you feel like none of your clothes flatter any part of your body. So that's exciting. Almost done here. With that, though, I am going to segue real quick and show you guys my baby bump because I don't feel like getting up right now. Yay, pregnancy. And I'm going to put in a clip right here real quick of the baby bump, what the baby bump looks like. All right, so that's my baby bump. Can you believe it? I look huge, and it drives me crazy that I still have 2 months of this. I still have 8 weeks left. And it's hard to believe I'm going to get bigger. That's crazy because I feel huge already. So anyway, moving on. A couple of really little minor things I'm going to hit. I just have 3 more things and I'll let you go. I know this has been a longer video, but you are the people and you've been begging for all the TMI stuff. So I deliver. Thick thighs and cellulite. The thick thighs have been kind of a struggle, especially because I lost a ton of weight right before I got pregnant. I was in the best shape of my life. I look good. And I had not looked that good in years and years and years and years and years. And so to get to that point, to find out, hey, by the way, you're going to be pregnant, or you're going to have a baby and get fatter, has just been a struggle because my thighs ultimately, a lot of parts of your body get thicker, like your butt gets a little bit bigger, you get more plump around your ankles and around your thighs, and you just kind of gain weight in just random places. But my thighs, I just feel like have gained quite a bit of weight. And with that, it's making the cellulite just incredibly visible. Now, for those of you, whatever you think about cellulite, I've done studies and research. Cellulite, there's nothing you can do about it. It's genetic, period. You can be a size 0 and have cellulite. You can be a size 20 and not have any cellulite. So it's not a matter of whether you're fat or not. So that is just a common misunderstanding of cellulite. Cellulite is literally, period, genetics. If you have cellulite, it's genetically within you, period. So, but it's just more visible with the weight gain around my thighs. But I'm not too embarrassed about that because right now it's wintertime. If it were summertime, I'd be a lot more embarrassed and that'd be a lot higher on my list right now. But I'm able to hide that with, leggings and dresses and pants and all that fun stuff. So yay to that. Last 2, acne. Acne, that's a silly one, I know, but again, I really just like to look good, and I like to, the big thing is I like to feel good. When I feel good, you just accomplish so much more. You can head towards your goals, you can get so much more done, and I just feel so much better about myself, when I look a little bit better. And take that, however you want. I don't really care. But I've had so much acne, and it's been so interesting trying to hide and trying to, adding all these face cleansers. I even have one right in here, right on my upper chest there that just will not go away. And so I'm not really acne prone anyway. I was when I was a teenager, but not anymore. And so I'm having little acne breakouts that have been really hard to try to hide. I wound up last week even just having I had 4. I had 1 in this nostril right there, 1 in the middle, 1 in this nostril, and then 1 on the inner side. So I had 4 pimples right there that all came at the same time. And I'm like, what just happened? And the last thing, this is more of a me thing because a lot of people probably don't get embarrassed by this, but especially looking back at pictures, pregnancy nose. If you know what pregnancy nose is, you know what I'm talking about. I get awful and horrific pregnancy nose. I do. Right now, it looks okay because I've got quite a bit of contouring, but it is quite larger than usual, and it's going to get bigger. I got a huge pregnancy nose with my son, even bigger one with my daughter, and it looks like somebody broke my nose. I almost look like a troll off of the movie Trolls. I mean, it's huge. It's a huge nose. And it's right there in the middle of your face. And so when it gets all crazy and deformed, it just feels strange and embarrassing. So I'm going to actually show you a clip, or not a clip, but I'm going to show you a clip of, sorry, not a clip, a picture of when I had delivered Abigail, and I was not even 24 hours after giving birth to her. And I'm going to show you that pregnancy nose right here. Huge, right? Huge. Huge nose. It looks massive compared to this one. It just tends to just get so much wider, and it just kind of goes way out, and there's nothing you can do about it other than just pray and to know that it's going to go down. So those are my TMI symptoms. If you have any other questions about TMI symptoms, things like, swelling, I haven't had a lot of swelling. So if I didn't mention it, odds are I'm not struggling with it too much because I've been thinking about all these symptoms throughout the week and things. But if you have any other questions, let me know. I want to be as real as possible with you guys. So that is it. 32 weeks pregnant, feeling good, feeling healthy, trying to stay positive. God bless, guys, and have a great day.